A lawsuit can make an already challenging time in anyone's life much more so, and everyone hopes that they may escape this chaotic situation as quickly as possible. Whether the accused or the victim, it makes no difference. People have a tendency to quit in the middle of the procedure since it is so awful and taxing on them. And if you are the one standing in the legal box as the guilty, there is no way out of this mess that you have created for yourself. YNW Melly, a well-known rapper, is presently being held hostage by this judicial procedure. He was found guilty of both charges brought against her in the double homicide case, because he was responsible for the deaths of his two close friends, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. Both the life sentence and the death penalty have been imposed upon him as a punishment for his crime. And it is believed that he was the only one who murdered the officer who worked for the Indian River County Sheriff's Department, Gary Chambliss. His followers are interested in learning whether or if there is a possibility that YNW Melly will be released from prison soon, as well as the length of his incarceration. If the answer is yes, then at what time would this take place? They are holding out hope that they will hear anything encouraging from anybody at any time in the near future, and they couldn't even fathom the possibility that it would be him all along. Find out more in the next part of the video. If you haven't heard of this artist before, or just want to know why he got imprisoned, stay tuned. YNW, or Jamel if you like, American rapper whose real name is Maurice Demons. On May 1st, 1999, in the state of Florida, he was born to Jamie Demon, who was then the king. Jamie was only 14 years old when she discovered she was going to be a mother. She has been Melly's only parent throughout her upbringing. It is not known for certain who Melly's biological father is. However, Dante Taylor, better known by his stage name, The Gift, and who is also a rapper by trade, asserts that he is Melly's father. When Jamie gave birth to her daughter Melly, she was in the 9th grade. After that, Jamie and the younger version of Melly relocated to a more respectable neighborhood in Gifford. Jamie had a lot of trouble in the past paying his rent and the other costs that came with living. As a consequence of this, Melly became a member of the Bloods, which is a criminal street gang, at a very impressionable age. Meanwhile, he began publishing his music on SoundCloud when he was just 15 years old and has been doing so ever since. Melly is incarcerated at this time as a result of her conviction in a case involving the murder of 2 people. However, this is not the first time that he has been placed in a detention facility. Melly was taken into custody in 2015 for allegedly firing at a group of teenagers who were walking near the Vero Beach High School. He was locked up for a number of months due to the several charges and convictions brought against him. A number of accusations, including aggravated assault, aggravated violence, and discharging a handgun in a public place, have been brought against him. YNW Melly was convicted of murder in the deaths of his 2 close friends, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr. This alleged crime was carried out in conjunction with Corton Henry, who is also being held responsible. Both Christopher Thomas and Anthony Williams were down on October 26th of this year, the region of South Florida where this happened. That's what the Miramar Police Department said in their report. In the early hours of the morning, at precisely 4:35, ambulances took both of them to Memorial Hospital Miramar. Both victims had been shot many times when they were taken to the hospital. The police said that the victims were already deceased, even before they got to the emergency room. The last location anybody saw both victims alive was in Fort Lauderdale at around 3:20 a.m. that same day. At this point, it is unclear who took Thomas and Williams to the hospital in the first place. Williams and Thomas were among the victims who were in a group that also included Melly and Henry. At some point thereafter, when we had finished our inquiry, YNW Melly and Henry Corton were arrested on suspicion of first-degree murder, this time on 2 separate occasions. According to the police in Miramar, Melly was the one who shot both Williams and Thomas, and the Miramar police also indicated that they had forensic pieces of evidence against the 2. This led them to their conclusion, and it was only then that they decided to arrest them. Both Melly and Henry took a serious emotional hit because of this. Melly submitted himself to the police in Broward County on the 13th of February. On February 12th, the police in Texas picked up Henry. 2 charges of first-degree murder were filed against them by Miramar police. Police also uncovered that Melly and Henry had jointly conspired to murder their childhood pals and then make it appear like a drive-by shooting. Melly was charged with opening fire on the 2 victims. Also, Melly said that Henry helped her cover up the conspiracy. The accusations are supported by the court documents as well. Henry was identified as the one who drove the victims to the morgue. Melly had already shared a photo of himself with 4 police officers to prove his innocence before he surrendered himself. Melly also sent a note saying that he had just lost 2 siblings and that the system was trying to track down those responsible for their deaths. Unfortunately, there are many false claims being made against him and Henry, but God is on their side. According to the police's version of events, Melly was the one who fired the gun and Henry was the mastermind behind the cover-up in Miramar. At about 4:35 that afternoon, he drove the SUV carrying the 2 corpses to the nearest hospital. The rapper known as Butter Pecan had earlier indicated that he would be released from jail this year. However, he has not done so, despite having asked for special care for dental treatment in order to get it. It seems at this point that he took things into his own hands after prior appeals were rejected. The Broward County Sheriff's Office has reported that a jailbreak attempt was made by a rapper who is 23 years old and one of his attorneys. The Florida Sheriff's Office said on Tuesday that they had received a confidential tip from 2 other prisoners in the Broward County Jail, which is where Melly is now being housed. In addition to that, it is said that he had shanks and pipe bombs in his cell. On April 2nd, 2020, Melly revealed on Twitter that he was infected with COVID-19. Due to his asthma and bronchitis, 6ix9ine was granted an early release from jail. His petition was denied on April 14. We need to know whether YNW Melly is still in prison in 2022, and if so, what his release date is. The name of the American rapper has lately been in the news due to allegations that he has been given the death sentence. Jamel Demons, alias YNW Melly, was revealed to have sought a judge's release from the Broward County Jail in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The request was sent after the rapper tested positive for COVID-19 within the facility. However, it seems that the musician has been cured, however he stays behind bars. Melly's mother Julie reported that Melly will be freed soon, but the precise date has yet to be established. She claims that he was supposed to be freed sooner, most likely in the spring of 2020. However, the pandemic prevented this from occurring. While in jail, the rapper allegedly caught COVID and asked to be released. This release, however, was not granted. Even though he hasn't had it for quite some time, YNW Melly's official release date from prison has not been announced. He is still behind bars in 2023. On the 13th of February 2019, police located and detained YNW Melly, who is now facing 2 charges of first-degree murder. Melly has been arrested on 2 counts of murder and is now being detained at the Broward County Jail in Florida. Florida rapper, age 21, contracted COVID-19 and will not be eligible for parole until April 2020. Melly has updated his Twitter with the following caption in light of his recent release. "It's getting close to that time again. Uncross your arms if you'd like. This is the year when I finally get to go home." That's all for today's video, guys. If you like our content, feel free to subscribe to the channel, share, and hit the notification bell to get the latest news from us. Thanks for watching and see you next time.